I'm here with the wonderful Vanessa Broers, who I also know as Venus, Power Queen, amongst other incredible names, which I'm hoping we'll hear about during this conversation. And
Mm.
the conversation is going to be unknown, expansive,
Mm.
deep, and there'll be a definite playfulness to it as well.
For
That's
sure.
those are things that I know.
That's about it.
That's about
Strap on. Strap in, I guess.
it. So join us for the ride.
Yes. Thanks. It's so fun to be here. I love you. Let's start there. Thanks.
Oh, that's beautiful to receive. Thank you. I love you too, very, very much, and I'm excited for this call. I'm glad that I can't remember exactly how it came about, but no, not 100% sure. But I
It
know
feels
that you.
like it's been in the works for so much longer than the actual logistical sketch. That's what it feels like to me. It's been in the works for around 6 months. And then it was when I initially shared about Emergence and you said, "Hey, what is that? Tell me more. I want to hear it." And it landed the plane that's been circling above.
Yes, yeah, definitely. I mean, what I've witnessed you journey through and now um, is emerging is very, very exciting. So yeah, I'm thrilled to be able to have this conversation with you as it's all happening.
At the crossroads just recently chose.
And I just read a recent post of yours, which I found extremely liberating, could resonate with it a lot. It echoes part of my journey as well. So hopefully we'll get into some of that as we go along. But I am going to ask you a definitely three questions that I in a previous podcast series would ask all of the guests, and because this is when women speak, I always like to ask what when women speak says to you in the as a opening question. So yeah, Vanessa, what does when women speak say to you?
Well, it's really funny because I thought about that and the way that I internally experienced answering that question, I think is sort of a meta for my answer to the question. There was this moment where I felt like there's an answer that I should have that should be about women using their voices and women's voices being stifled for millennia. And I was, that was there. It is there. But what I actually felt was, I don't know that that's how I would answer that question. And so what is my answer to that question then is what I feel about when women speak. At least in my recent experience, I have not wanted to hear my voice. And I don't mean out loud. Lord knows I like to hear myself talk out loud. I'll talk all day. I'll convince you I know what I'm talking about. I'll talk and talk. You'll be so like this. And the whole time I'm not saying what's real. And my sister does these unbelievable channeled angel writings, and my angels only communicate in near impossible riddles. It's like so frustrating. They'll say something like, "There's a box. It's locked deep inside you. What's in the box?" I'm like, "What did you talk? What box are you talking about?" And it only just occurred to me why my guides and angels speak in riddle, so that my answer that I land on has to be my own, because the way that I answer the riddle is from my own deepest truth, and only when I land on it do I know that it's correct. Nobody else can affirm or deny its correctness other than me. And so for me, that is what it means when women speak, when we land on the thing inside that we absolutely, perhaps excruciatingly cannot validate from anywhere outside. because that is the truth that requires just a level of courage that's not fair.
It is a level of courage that kind of feels unfair. And the
Mm-hmm.
trust in yourself and in that guidance, that wisdom, that it is speaking truth, your truth.
Yeah. Yes. I was just speaking to a client who is leaving a relationship, and she's in the spiral. You know, one minute she's certain, the next she's certain she's made a terrible mistake. And oh, it's just like the spiritual wash cycle. I can actually imagine her like inside a washer, like that's what it feels like. And she said, "How do I know? How do I know?" And I said, "You only know because there's like a tiny, 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 tiny thread that's always there. You can't always see it or feel it, but you know it's always there. And that's all you have to hold on to." And it's not like, I think when women speak has to always feel like that. But if you're like me, or I think so many women, and you haven't listened to that voice for a very, very, very long time, I think that's where it starts.
Yeah, there is a learning in a way, or unlearning, which it's both at the same at the same time, isn't it?
There is.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love your answer. It's perfect. And it made me, because you mentioned that your angels and guides speak in riddles, I've got a fabulous deck of oracle cards here, the Divine Feminine Oracle Guidebook by Megan Watterson, which I just found really potent. So I want to ask the cards. Maybe it'll be funny if it isn't actually a riddle, if it actually is pretty damn clear what what it's saying.
That's
So
in and of itself.
you have, as we just mentioned, you were at a crossroads and you have made a choice. The emergence is happening. So what would be a question for the Divine Feminine cards?
Hmm.
The noise you can hear if you're just listening to this on audio is me shuffling the cards. Maybe I'll mute myself.
No, keep on, keep on.
Okay.
It's such a good sound. It's also, I pull cards for people all the time. And when someone pulls a card for me, it's such a, like, it's so nice. So thank you in advance.
Oh,
Um,
oh, oh. Well, that card already wants to speak, so we'll have that one anyway. But
well,
it's
that's amazing because the question was going to be to wait or not wait. And then
okay. That's
I know the answer.
oh, okay. Catherine Labore, the patroness of miraculous healing. I am ready to heal. I am worthy of the miracles meant for me.
Oh, that is so good. In my meditation this morning, I'm at this. I recently just maybe this might be the post that you were talking about. This I shared a post 2 days ago that said, "I just had the worst financial crash of my life. Why I feel the best I've ever felt." I'm I have been resisting this crossroads for 5 years. I think I was standing at it for some time. Um, Before that, I think I was like kept trying to find a detour that kept looping me back to the same crossroads. And for me, it really was this: what God am I serving? Is it money or is it actually God? And I had this very convoluted relationship between the two. And oh, part of what you have witnessed in me, and I know you know this, over the last just about a year, is really renouncing money as my God. Not renouncing money, but money as my God. But I think I had to do both at the same time because I got no money. So I think is part of my path. But even being able to say that out loud is pure liberation, is pure proof of the emergence that I have undergone. But anyway, all of that to say, in my meditation this morning, I'm in this space where, to put it frankly, I have like $3,000 to my name. All of my credit cards were canceled. I mean, there is just this divine crumbling. And I can say it's divine because it's not as a result of any of the typical financial things that would have a person arrive in this place. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, what do I really want? What do I really want? Because it's always felt weird to me to ask God for money. Like, I'm totally fine. And I love the idea of God being my sugar daddy, but there's something weird about being in a place, because I don't want saved. I don't want to bring that energetic into the conversation. But in my meditation this morning, the question was, what I really want, money aside, is to experience miraculous relationship with God. And so for that card to be pulled, it's like, that's what's up. I want a miracle. I just want a miracle. I want to feel it. You know what I mean?
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I am worthy of the miracles meant for me.
Mm.
Yeah. And this it just ends with saying, if we can hand over an attachment to what healing is going to look like, we can receive all the blessings waiting for us.
Oh,
And that's scary to kind of, I mean, that doesn't mean don't, what's that, there's that fable, isn't there, about that somebody, there's a flood rising and someone's, they've got opportunities to be rescued and they're like, no, 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 God will save me. A boat comes, a helicopter comes, oh no, it's okay, God will save me. And then they drown and get to heaven and say to God, why didn't you save me? It's like, well, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. What more? What more do you
I
want?
really hope that's not me right now.
Well, I think the reason, yeah. So I think it's a case of, yes, we can have non-attachment to the unfolding, and there is, excuse me, let me get some water. There is aligned action to take.
Yes, yes, yes. Do you know what's been really fascinating for me around the conversation around aligned action? What I am reconfiguring is both of those words, kind of individually, and then also how that brings them back together. So I have been a person who has mostly been in no short of of action. I've been of the camp, I will make shit happen no matter what. I will, like, God could send the flood, and I'm like the person who's like, you can't flood me. It's like more like that. And that has not been aligned. Like, that is for sure what I've seen. Like, no matter how much God is like, just let the flood drown you, please, for the love of God. I'm getting sick of sending flood after flood after flood. I wonder if God gets tired. I truly do. If he's like, oh my God, she's still going. He's like in his God CEO boardroom and someone comes in and is like, I really hate to tell you this, but Vanessa Broers is still standing. He's like, damn, send another flood. That's like how I imagine it going. Anyway, where was I going with that? Aligned action. So I recently just had a conversation with Leanne and Jonathan, because I have been saying, I feel like I'm just waiting. I feel like I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not taking any aligned action. And then it occurred to me to share with them what I've been up to. And they were both like, what? I'm taking so much action that I don't consider aligned, because it doesn't align to the direct, obvious, linear creation of a result. And so therefore I've discounted it. And I'm starting to see how inaccurate, but also potentially dangerous that is, to create an outcome that I don't want. Because if I were, in my meditation, I was really thinking about all of the places that I have been taking action in all of the ways that I've been in service and I haven't let myself receive those inside. So of course it's not going to create anything outside. So I'm really in this very much like at the crossroads, have just chosen, but don't quite get the new terrain yet. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Will what came to me come back? it did make sense. And as you were speaking, so you were saying that you were taking a lot of oh yeah, that was it. It's the what we could describe as magic, you know, those synchronicities, and um you um the person you bump into, or the person you end up having a phone call with, and it feels like it's not these sorts of things feel unconnected, and yet it's only when you're able to look back and join
Yes.
up all of the dots, you're like, oh yeah, well, if that wouldn't have happened, then I wouldn't have met so and so, and if that wouldn't, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. That's such a gift, that missing piece. Again, I've made myself God, where I'm like, I don't see the connection. So get rid of that boat, get rid of nothing happening. The magic. Oh yeah, magic. That thing that I obsess about all day, every day. Oh yeah.
I love it, love it. This next question might relate to the crossroads, we'll see, and what you've been seeing, or something else might come to you. I love the idea, well, not the idea, I just love it when somebody hears a question and then just allows whatever comes up as the answer. So, what have you come to realize that has been a game changer?
Hmm. Hmm. The thing that comes up is recently I just had this, I was thinking about a client and a question that he was asking me, and this really neat and tidy little structure just kind of like floated down into my brain. And it was the idea that there's 4 kinds of work required for magic to emerge. And it was a really fun discovery. So I'll share the 4 kinds of work, and I'll share the game changer was the last one. There's outside work that creates outside results. There's inside work that creates inside results. There's inside work that creates outside results. This was the game changer. There's outside work that creates inside results. And the last one, I was like, what does that mean? Huh? Which one is that? And it's this idea of ceremony. I think, I could go into examples of all the other 3, but I think we can sort of, if you sit with them long enough, you can figure them out. But that was the game changer for me. It was the missing, because without this last one, I kept spiraling in these other ones, and not the whole picture wasn't changing. Pieces of the picture would change. I would create a result. I'd feel a little better, but we have, at least I think everybody has this click that they're kind of waiting for. Do you know what I mean? Like, you'll know it when you get it, but you don't know what it is, but you know that you haven't had it. You've gotten close, but it wasn't totally it, and it didn't last, like that. Why am I not there yet? Is the vocalization that my clients say about this. But to find ceremony, outside work that creates inside shifts, changed everything. The walls that you keep bumping up against, the mental models that you can't break, the surrender that you can't quite get to, giving gifts to trees and burying my blood in the ground. And, I'm just saying it in this way because it sounds so weird that it did to me, that this kind of work, making offerings, could create shifts that really, by all other accounts, should take lifetimes, can happen in a day. That was a game changer.
Mm, I absolutely love that, and I hear you. Um, my kind of most obvious story with that is when I had my crossroads moments.
Tell me, tell me, tell me.
Well, I was so I just my house of cards of credit cards had just collapsed. I was kind of like, oh, well, if I get this credit card, then that money can pay off the other one, and it just and this was all to do with um setting up an online coaching business. I was doing course after course after course after course, and nothing was working in the way that I thought it would. Anyway, I then got to
Very,
the point
very
where
relatable, by the way. I'm over here like, yeah, yeah. Okay, go on.
and yeah, so I'm on my sofa, naked, covered in open sores. I couldn't wear clothes for 3 days. That's the extent. That's yeah, where I went to with this. No money, no skin.
Oh, Jesus.
And what else is there to do at that point other than surrender? It's kind of like, you can drown me now. The flood can, yeah, bring on the flood.
I had him like, why do we have to take it that far? Some of us really need to, though, just for the record.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's like, fair enough. I was doing all manner of things that I wasn't consciously aware I was doing, like certain friends I had stopped speaking to, but I didn't consciously know I'd done that. Like friends who would have said, "What are you doing?" And
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh,
so
uh-huh.
very clever, very clever. Anyway,
And
the point I was going to make was, so at that point, so I surrendered, and I was just like, I will do whatever you ask of me, whatever. And the things to do were, it was eating healthily, it was going out in nature every day, communing with trees, and sort of, you know, and then sort of doing what the trees asked, which was sometimes it was like clearing the land of rubbish, and just yeah, being of service in communion with the land. And it was this reciprocal relationship. So what I found is that outside work of offerings, ritual, and ceremony is a direct conversation, communion with God.
yes. I'm so curious in that moment when you were like, I will do whatever you ask. And God was like, go for a walk. And you were really? I must be mishearing. Is there static in the system? Because that's what it feels like. It can't be that.
Yeah,
It's like,
I know. It was,
did you
yeah,
have that?
I did because it was really, it felt like, how can doing so little result in so much? I mean, what it resulted in is one of my sort of deepest desires was to be a mother, and it
Mm.
resulted in that period of time of being out in nature every day, loving kindness meditation, the what I was consuming into my body, how I was treating my body. I ended up having twins.
Whoa. Talk about abundance. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's such, I love that story. I love that story. I love it, especially right now, because I know it to be true, and in a moment where I totally relate, where I'm like, I will do anything you ask. And God is like, post on social media. I'm like,
Okay, I can do that.
you're like, again, could bring it back to like the CEO boardroom. You're like, you can't like talk shit on the CEO, but I guess we'll go with this crazy idea. It's like that kind of, but what a beauty. And it's like the simplicity, the way that we overcomplicate, over control. That's a beautiful story.
Mhm. Yeah, I like that one. For some reason, I then, it's not like I've gone back to my conditioned ways as such, but I haven't quite been able to take that experience and sort of replicate it with business, with what I do in regards to how I earn an income. So that's why I'm particularly interested and curious with you, Vanessa, because you are, or were all about the money, 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 money. I love money. Bring me the money. Give me the money. I can
Which I
have
still
all of the
feel.
money. Billionaire status is I can wear it well.
Huh?
And so, yeah, I'm curious how this is working for you, this more direct relationship with God, with spirit, with the land, with ceremony, and with business.
Yeah. Feels like there's a million possible answers to that, or responses rather. I think I've always been motivated by money. I remember years ago, one of my first coaches asked, "What motivates you besides money?" My answer was nothing. Does something motivate people besides money? It was like one of those, like, I don't compute the question. And then I was very self-serving. Like, I was really self-serving. I was inspired by coaching. I loved it. I was intrigued and fascinated, but I was not connected to service. That was not a part of it for me. I wanted to be rich, and I liked coaching, and I liked helping people. And it wasn't like I was trying to manipulate people either. Like, it didn't go to that far, but I just was like, this makes sense. I saw a lot of really wealthy coaches for the first big portion of my career. I was inspired and influenced by people who were very much six-figure coaching model. Like, that was just such an early part of my influence. So I think in that sense, it helped because I didn't grow up in the coaching world that was about spiritual servitude, that kind of like money is wrong. It was quite the opposite, which was, no surprise that I landed there. I didn't even know the other people existed. Please, only if you're a monk that you think that way. But then I learned that service, like serving people genuinely, was how you enrolled them into your business. And for me, that interim stage was learning about service, but as a strategy to make money. So it wasn't inauthentic, but it wasn't totally rooted, if that makes sense. It wasn't serving as a way of being. So that worked. I went from waiting tables, making 20 grand a year, to serving as a coach, making 60, 120, 180, 185. Like, it was working so well that it allowed me to see that it wasn't working, if that makes sense. And then I met freaking Leanne.
I'll tell you the story of me meeting Leanne in a bit, because she always
Yeah.
loves hearing me telling it, and yeah, it's a funny one. But yeah, carry on meeting Leanne.
Tortured me. Oh my God. Just her existence tortured me. Like, she didn't have to say anything to me and I was tortured. As this was happening, then I got pregnant. This is a long, like a 10-year unfolding. So I'm combining it into as little as I can. I got pregnant, and the best that I can describe is that structure collapsed. It just collapsed. The minute I found out I was pregnant, it collapsed. All of a sudden, for reasons that were totally magical and not at all logical, I knew that this money thing was broken, and it terrified me. And I was working with a shaman at the time who said, this pregnancy is a gift from God to collapse the structure of your identity. I'm like, thank you. I love this present. Of all the gifts I've asked for, this is the one? Really? Okay. Noted. We're going to have words when I get back. And he said, because your identity is too small and it lacks spiritual depth. And so I guess I'm answering that because I'm 37, and from basically the age of 6 to 32, I had no relationship to God and no relationship to genuine service. It was about money, and it was about success, and it was about achievement, and it's about what I called potential, which is like a nice way of painting over materialism. And it was helping people, so it was justified. But it didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. It didn't work. And so the last 5 years have been a very excruciating and painful, unconflating, I don't know, separating the word for that, of not feeling like I had to renounce money and materialism, because like a part of my being will just never get on board with that. And also not pursuing it at the expense of everything. And so now I'm in this space, and it's been a really like, really into the metaphors today, but if like a person holding on to a palm tree in the middle of a hurricane, where it's like, dude, just let go. Like, just let go. This is ridiculous. But it had been real. It felt like if I let go of the money piece, the money would go away. And when I did, the money did. But I will say that in this moment, as a human being who's done so much work, both professionally, knows how to make money better than almost anybody I know, having no money, I've had this experience right now where the best I can describe it is, it's ludicrous to think that God and money have to be separate at all. So as I move forward in my business, what feels the truest in this moment is there's no reason to separate them, and there's no reason to pursue them as opposites, in opposition. That's where I'm at. So if taking a walk in nature or posting on social media, it's like if there's something that you want to do for business, of course money should come with it. That's sort of just the energetic description that I can offer. So if there's a business that you want to create and you're not making money, that doesn't make any sense. That's sort of the best I can describe it in the moment.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And obviously it's nuance, isn't it? Because, there will be occasions where something that is soul aligned to do and be of service with isn't necessarily where you might directly get money from, but the
Yes.
money will cut, but the money would, there would be money available to support you in your soul
Yes.
work.
Yes. 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 And I think that's where the soul aligned piece, and why Leanne was such a human torture chamber for me, was like, she was so much about soul alignment, soul alignment, soul alignment. And for me, I really just felt like soul alignment had to mean renouncing money. And she helped describe this in a way that was really useful. She said, so often the soul and the ego actually want the same thing, but they go about it in two totally different ways. And so for me, that just really helped, because not everyone's path is the same. But I guess the invitation that I want to keep exploring into is, how can I allow myself to have both? If my heart is calling me in that direction and my soul is calling me in that direction, there's a reason for it, but I have to let my mind step out of the driver's seat, knowing how it's going to unfold, and then therefore contorting and distorting or muddying up the vision.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. And this is a great segue into, so what are you doing? What's going on?
What are you doing right now? For those of us watching, what the hell is going on? So emergence is the theme of all my work and my being right now. So very practically, Emergence is a free virtual half-day immersion. So it's 4 hours of a wild ride. that I want to take people on to journey into their own emergence. But I'll just kind of give a little example of what emergence means to me. I have always heard people talk about the idea that you can create and not know what's coming. You know what I mean? We hear people talk about this. We can only connect the dots looking backwards and not forward. I've understood that conceptually, but it's only recently that I really get it. So one of the cool things that's been happening to me lately is when I'm in meditation, I'll get a name like Emergence, but I'll have no idea what it is. I just know, okay, I know I'm supposed to pay attention to this. So a few months ago, Emergence dropped in, and I had just spent how much time working on packages and offerings that are soul aligned with Jonathan and Leanne. And I thought, no, I don't, nope. I don't want another offering. I don't want another package. Get out. No. So it landed and I was like, get out of here. It was like shooing away a stray cat. And then it occurred to me, oh, this offering is free. I don't know that again, and that was so exciting. And I didn't know why. Like, why would that be so exciting? And I realized I have known for a long time that I'm being called to serve differently, to serve more people, to serve more authentically in a way that's more soul aligned. And something about the idea that this event was free just felt correct. And so when those two pieces came together, I was able to say yes to it. And what's really cool about the way that this is unfolded is that saying yes to Emergence has connected all the other dots backwards that I have been looking for 5 years. It's a way to bring people into my world that is over the top generous. 4 hours, I am putting all of my energy and love and creativity and innovation into this event, which is I've always said I'm the most generous person on earth. Ellen DeGeneres only has more resources. Otherwise, she wouldn't stand a chance. She would look ridiculously cheap compared to me. And so the Emergence is a couple things. It's the best stuff I know on surrendered creation, self-expression, practical organization of the how, and in the moment transformation that's fun, playful, practical. And it's a gateway into my world. It's, do you love this? Because believe me, you're going to love what else I have in the store. And so that's the thing that's the most alive. It's March 24th. And then I'll also redefine my other offerings. And I'm happy to share those, but basically everything in my world right now has shifted into immersions, because I realized it's really the best thing I do. When my clients come to Denver and we go into nature, or I go to Mexico and I meet a client and we do 2 days together, there's something extra magical that happens when we immerse ourselves in our truth, our desire, our edges, and the intention to shift. Like if we just sit there a little longer than an hour every other week or whatever, something magical happens that's indescribable. And that's where all the work I'm doing is centering around.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, and in terms of it being free, when I read Emergence and I was reading through it, I was just like, oh, this sounds incredible. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this must be, I don't know, 20 grand or more offer or something. And then I was just like, hang on, what does that say free? Vanessa and free? And it's all this? I was like,
you're innovating, baby.
What's happened?
It's so funny because I love you for saying that. It's so funny. And your message to me was one of the most endearing. You were like, can we talk about this?
Are you sure you're okay?
Someone send help. Well, it's really funny. I guess I love extremes. I mean, that's not a surprise to anybody. I used to really, I've always gotten feedback when I'm in coaching groups or like, you're so intense. And I used to feel really bad about that. And then I just was like, I'm intense. I can't help it. Believe me, I've tried to change it as many times as possible. It's not easy living like this. If I had a preference, I would choose something else. I'm just intense. So when it came to, when I was really reflecting on my relationship to money, on my relationship to coaching, on my relationship to serving, I kept restructuring my packages, and you were there for a lot of the iterations. And every time I created something, I'd get really excited about it. I mean, if you follow my social media, you would have seen 20 offerings that appeared and disappeared within a matter of weeks. The phrase that kept coming to mind is, it's all the same. This is the same thing with a different name in a different package. And if you offer this, you're going to be bored. Because I think what I actually realized is that part of emergence and what that means to me is unapologetically claiming the aspects of yourself that you keep trying to heal aren't supposed to be healed. They're supposed to be like doubled down on and expressed. Not always, not as a rule, but I think a lot of the times it's like, I got to heal this intensity. It's like, maybe you just need to own it. And so that's a big part of this. So what ended up happening is my packages kind of went into extremes. Like I created this offering that by all accounts could cost $20,000 and made it free. And then I took my 9-month coaching package, shrank it into 9 days and raised the price. And so, and so my soul was like, this is weird, but okay, you know? And so for me, yeah, it was about allowing myself to have it the way I wanted it. And what was beautiful about giving myself the thing I wanted over here that was free is that it's what allowed me to create this innovation in my other coaching package. And I can already tell you that by the time Emergence comes, there will be another offer that doesn't exist yet, but it's only coming into form because of being a yes to Emergence and this other thing called Chrysalis.
Oh, what a name, Chrysalis. Oh my goodness, that gives me tingles. Yeah, yeah, because you can really, I can feel with, and knowing you, that Emergence is going to be very deep and powerful. And then there's also something in the name Chrysalis that kind of, you can feel the energetic that it's going from one thing to something that's, yeah, right on the other extreme.
Yes. And it's so wild how it's magical, really, how all of this has come to form because, like I said, Chrysalis, the name, dropped in way before I knew what the container was. And all of this has built upon, you know me as Vanessa, you also know me as Venus, which is the name that dropped in when we were invited to come up with our magical name. And I was at my altar and I said, what's my name? And I got Venus. It's like, what? I wanted to dismiss it again. Like, gotta improve my listening ears. I said, okay. And I had no relationship to this name Venus, aside from it's a razor brand. And I knew on some level, there may or may not be some archetype, mythical somebody. Oh, okay. The goddess of love. Got it. Her. But I had no I didn't have that relationship when the name dropped in. And more, of course, it's come into my awareness. And Keely actually said to me, did you know Venus, the name means butterfly? But so does Vanessa. And it was just like, oh, and so this energetic, this baked in emergent chrysalis butterfly kind of energy has always been there all along. And that's so to me, that's also the other, like, that's what emergence is. It's when the thing appears, you recognize it as the thing, and then you recognize that's always been the thing. To me, and when we live as the expression of that, that's like, you made it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Love it all. Love it all. Obviously, we're going to share the details of Emergence when it's happening. You said it's March 24th. I have a really horrible feeling that it's in a time zone, at a time that for people in Europe, it's going to be a bit,
What
bit
time is it for
tricky.
you now?
Now in the UK, it is just coming up to 5 p.m.
So it's a little bit late. It's 7 till 11. 7 till 11. But that's not that. It will be worth it. And next time I'll change it to this time. So it'll be 5 to 9.
Oh, hang on. So you think it's going to start at 7 p.m. UK time? It sounded
Yeah.
like it was going to start at 10 p.m. Oh, sorry, that's my phone.
It starts 2 hours from now.
Oh, no, that's fine then. Okay, I take it all back. Maybe I'll even edit this bit out. Not for the video.
Leave it in. You're speaking to the objections.
I can't make it. It's the wrong time. Okay, I've got no excuse then. I need to sign my ass up.
Yeah.
So, and I will put a link wherever people are listening, watching this. But if you can say it as well, where can people go to get the details to sign up?
So you can go to, there's actually 2 places. I'll say them both in case one's easier than the other. So one is vanessabrowerscoaching.com/emergence. My name is hard to spell. So the other one is thepowergift.com. Easier to remember. For that second one, you also get a free sort of like introduction to what we're going to be doing at Emergence. And then when you sign up for that free mini long hour course, it'll take you to the sign up page.
Ooh, more free stuff.
More free stuff. Like I said, Ellen DeGeneres ain't got nothing on me. If anyone knows her, tell her I'm coming. I'm taking her off her throne.
Right, I'm going to ask my third and final question that I ask all podcast guests, which is because I just feel it's nice to celebrate other people and what we're So, what have you? I can't even remember the question.
You really pulled that off with confidence. I didn't.
The question is something like, what have you experienced recently that this really isn't the question, but it's something along the lines of what have you experienced recently that's really touched you? So whether something you've like a song or a book or it could be anything, but
I remember the question from
in
your
something
email.
that's what's the question? What is my question? What's inspired you?
Yeah, it was like a poem, a song, or I love you. I love you. Ooh, okay. So this question split for me because when you sent the question ahead of time, I wanted to share my soul's favorite quote that's been a guiding.
You can have 2. You can have 2.
Okay. This quote has been a siren song for me because when I first heard it, it was like, what? How could that be? And my relationship to this quote has changed over the years. I'm going to read it because I'll mess it up. It's Franz Kafka. And he says, "You do not need to leave your room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. Do not even listen. Simply wait. Be quiet, still, and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has no choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet." When I first heard that, I was quite power hungry, and I liked the idea of the world rolling in ecstasy at my feet. But now I get it. It's the subtle relationship between God and stillness and magic. So that's the quote. But I like the idea of celebrating somebody else. So my sister is 20 something. Don't listen to this.
This is a good start.
The point is, she's in her 20s and she's not, she's working really hard and she's, in that 20 space, can't buy a car, saving up to buy a car. And she sent me $50 twice in the last 2 weeks for horseback riding lessons. And it was so sweet. It was so generous because she doesn't have it to give. she knows I'm stressed. She knows I'm going through a lot. She know in all fronts. And she also knows how much horseback riding means to me. And the reality is I probably wouldn't give it up no matter what state I was in. And I just thought it was such generosity, but like specific generosity. Do you know what I mean? It's like I can give you a gift card. That's generous. But I can also like give you a gift card to your favorite coffee shop with a mug and you know what I mean? It's like it was so tender and nuanced and sweet. And she doesn't have it to give. You know what I mean? So that was something that really touched me.
I
And
love that, and I love your connection with horses. I'm just trying to find a quote that been a TV show on in the UK. It's on the BBC, so I don't think it can necessarily be watched everywhere. But it's about autism, so it's like something like inside my autistic mind. And one of the people they are sharing about and speaking with is a guy called Murray, who is nonverbal. And one of the things he says about horses is um, horses breathe out understanding into the air. And what was the other bit?
ooh,
I'm going to find it. Well, will I find it? Because I sent it to Leanne, but the amount of messages I'll have had
can
back
imagine.
and forth. I know if I write horse, I don't think we often talk about horses. I'm sure if I search horse, it'll come out. Oh, okay. Yeah. So one of the things that Murray said by this kind of like speaking device, because he's non-verbal, horses are dear souls in an autistic world. Oh, so they just they know you, they see you, they feel you, and they have such wisdom and such majesty. They're just
Yes.
beautiful, beautiful, divine creatures.
I think yes to all of that. And they require, in the limited experience that I have, so much humility.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah.
When I first sat on a horse, it was only a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I am not in control. Like, I like, first of all, this horse knows I don't know anything. Like, that's for sure. And even if I knew everything, it would still be up to the horse. And they're so powerful. And at first I thought I was afraid. And then I just realized, no, you're intimidated. And that's the correct response. Like, know your place in
Yes.
a very humble way. And so I think that for me, I love that. Oh, that's such a beautiful, they breathe out understanding. Gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, we're gonna have to bring this to a close. Oh, I did say that I would share um my first experience of Leanne. So Leanne is from Waking the Wild, um, which is an organisation that I actually work for. But my first encounter with them was I used to see Leanne on social media because we were in some sort of similar circles. And my response was, who does she think she is? Look at her flouncing around, making out that life's so great and beautiful. How dare she? How very dare she? And and then, to my horror, she appeared in my inbox one day, and I was like recoiling.
We need to do a keyword search of the ways that we've described Leanne in this conversation. Torture chamber. To my horror, she arrived at my. Oh.
But to cut a long story short, so I did listen to her message or read her message, and she was saying that she thought Waking the Wild Feminine would be a good fit for me and to have a look at it. And as I was reading the sales page, I was just crying. I was just crying. I was like, yes, I think it would be good to have a call with you. And then when I got on the call with her, I was just crying.
I had the same first call with her.
Yeah, and I just realized that she's just this beautiful mirror of everything I know myself to be and have done my utmost to hide it.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, that's a beautiful story.
And she's out there living it, expressing it, being it,
Towards the rest
and
of us.
paving the way, showing, showing that it is possible, it is safe
Mhm.
to express that freely and to be unapologetic about how you view the beauty in the world.
Mhm.
And yeah, and to wear a crown, literally wear a crown. It's
I
all
remember, I remember being like, "Are you allowed to show that much cleavage on a call?" I mean, I really like my boobs. I really do. And I always have, but I've always, again, I kind of was in this professional masculine and get a button up. And I'm like, I can't stop staring. But she's the embodiment of permission and beauty and feminine and expression. And I love that.
I love that. And I also love the backstory that she was also herself repulsed by the feminine and thought the feminine was weak, and
Yes.
was actually mistaken as a boy as she was growing up. And so
Wow.
it's so interesting. And I think that's probably why her magnetism is as it is, because she's been on that journey. She was
Yes.
at that crossroads and chose all out feminine.
Yes. 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 Oh, cool. Thanks for
Mm.
sharing.
Hey, you're welcome. Okay, is there anything last words that you want to say, since this is when women speak?
Mm.
Speak, woman.
I'll say this has been, I mean, to no surprise, but delightful. That it's just the play and the laughter. And thank you for holding the space and meeting the truth of me so that all of what we talked about could come out. I feel seen, welcomed, loved, adored, respected, admired, all the things I always crave. That's it. So I guess when we meet other women who celebrate our speaking, and maybe anyone, but women, I think we get to be seen and held and expressed in a way that we crave at the deepest level, and that craving, that longing is so correct.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, it is correct. And yeah, I'm excited for myself and all the other. Is it just women for Emergence, or is it no, it's anyone. Okay, make that clear then. It's for anybody. Anyone that wants to emerge
Yes.
can be there. So that's exciting. Yeah, yeah. Oh, one thing we didn't say actually, now I'm extending it, is so Emergence is virtual.
Yes.
So can people see each other? What's just a quick.
Yes. 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 My most daring invitation is video on. And when you sign up, you'll receive this in video format, playfully, but also like daringly, to not only be there on video, but be there in the environment that most expresses you, and dressed in whatever appearance that also most expresses you. And because here's the thing, nobody knows you there.
Mm, mm,
So I went to some sort of talk or training or something, and I just thought, like, I'm really going to go all out and dress how I want. Everybody assumed that's how I always dressed. For me, it was so weird. But so the idea, because Emergence is so much about expression, like, let this be a moment where you don't hold that back.
mm. And is there a caveat in the sense of, if somebody is definitely, they do feel in their bones they want to emerge, but it's you know breaking through is really tricky, and they kind of like, oh my goodness, I want to be there, but I don't know if I can quite do that. What's your
Yeah,
message to them?
come at your edgiest edge, whatever
Yeah.
that is.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Let it be an edge. If the edge is there, camera off, and that's the edge, be at the edge.
Yeah. Yeah, gorgeous.
There
Yeah,
at your edge.
thanks for adding that. Okay, beautiful. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will, if I don't see you before, I will see you at Emergence.
Thank you.
Lots of
Okay.
love.